Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is Kicking It with Kandii. I'm your host, Kandii Marie, and I have my homegirl on set with me today. I'm so excited. My boo, Dominique. What's up, girl?
Hey.
How are you?
No complaints, no complaints.
Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me now. All of my guests, I gotta make sure that they feel comfortable. So we got our little wine here. It's ladies' night, and we're gonna cheers it bad before we get into the nitty gritty of things. We're gonna cheers. Gotta take a little sip on you. Gotta taste that. You taste it in your throat. You got that in your throat. Okay. So, like I was saying, again, if you guys missed it, this is a story of resilience, dedication, determination, motherhood, strength, survival, and like I said, it speaks volumes to me, and I really want you guys to hear her story as well, because she's really overcome a lot of things. Okay, her story is one that a lot of you all can possibly relate to, or know somebody who is going through it as well. So I want you guys to really kind of tune into this, because her story could help a lot of you all. If you're going through something right now, you don't know how you're gonna make it, you don't know if anybody can even understand what you're going through. I think listening to this story can definitely answer that for you. So without further ado, Miss Dominique, girl, we're gonna get into some things. What's going on?
Who's that?
Love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Miss Lock Queen. So every time I come across another beautiful woman with locks, it's like a sisterhood. You know what I'm saying? I can't even spot them from across the room. I'll be like, I see you, girl. You're not a struggle.
Yes.
You're not a struggle. So
Especially when you're right here. And now you're right here.
Absolutely. And another thing that we can relate to, you and I, we are both mothers. We have teenagers. I have a teenage daughter. I have just one.
My oldest is a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you came into motherhood. What was that like for you? Where were you at in your life before you became a mother?
I was 19 when I got pregnant with my oldest daughter. So that was a struggle in itself, being a teenager. Not a young teenager, but still trying to find myself and having a child. So it was a teaching lesson to have a child at such a young age. But I'm glad she's 16.
Yeah.
Because now she's the babysitter.
I'm sure.
No,
I'm sure. See, I just had one and she's 15, so she ain't got nobody to babysit, so she just be doing her stuff. She's involved in a lot of activities and stuff, but she got her life.
Yeah, my 16-year-old is actually involved in a lot of things, and it's one of those things where I want to clench her and hold her in, but it's I gotta let her go. So she's in the church. She goes to different programs as far as school is concerned. She's in drama. She does the stage management for her school plays.
Okay.
So it's I feel like I'm doing something right, kind of, but then I'm like, you a teenager.
Dominique.
So let's reel it in a little bit, sis.
Is she good? Is she going to school?
Some days.
Okay.
But that's all kids.
Yes.
That's all kids.
You are doing the best you can.
So I don't have any complaints about her, especially when I see other 16-year-olds in comparison to mine, and I'm like,
correct. Absolutely.
This one isn't that bad.
So, like me, you're a single mother, right? Tell me about that. How did you become a single mom? Where's the dad? You have 4 children, right?
4 children.
Okay.
Age ranges from 16 and a half to 7 and a half.
Okay.
So about 5 years ago, my children's father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and it's actually Pancreatic Awareness Month this month.
Okay.
So that's another thing I'm proud about my daughter. She definitely pushes awareness. So in September of 2013, we found out that he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And
I want to stop you right there, because I really want people tuning in to kind of be in that moment that you were in. Some, like I said, can possibly relate. Some maybe can't. What was that feeling? What did you experience when the moment you found out that it was not only pancreatic cancer but stage 4, right?
So finding out someone that has any stage 4 cancer is kind of like an awakening moment. It's kind of like you have to prepare yourself that they might or might not be there. Generally with pancreatic cancer, the mortality rate is really, really low. So if you're finding it in that stage, there's slim to no chance of surviving it. So at that moment, it was just like, okay, I don't know how I'm going to prepare myself to be a single mother, but I have to mentally prepare myself that I might not have this man in my children's life within the next 2 years. So it was one of those things where I'm like, nah, we're good. You're gonna kick it. You're gonna be all right. But in my mind, as a mother, I'm like, okay, it might not be that. So it was like I had to play dual roles. Like I had to act like I was stronger than what I really felt, and then the interim, I still had to move like, all right, we're gonna be good, like. So it was just like I didn't want anybody to see how I actually felt on the inside while dealing with getting that type of news. My youngest at that time was only 2. So as a mother, your children can feel everything that you feel, whether you're happy, you're sad, whatever the case is. Absolutely. Your children feel all of that. So I still had to operate under the same circumstances as I would have operated not knowing this news. And it was ironic because stage 4 pancreatic cancer can mimic a number of things. And he was misdiagnosed with several things before we even found out that he had cancer. He was diagnosed with IBS, a lot of things just before we got, the actual diagnosis. He was actually at home in the driveway, and they called him. And most doctors do not give that type of news over the phone. They gave him that news over the phone because they even misdiagnosed it. So it's just like, I'm sitting there listening like, huh? What did you say? Like, you're not really telling me that this is what we're about to deal with right now. But again, like, as a mother of 4 children, and like I said, this was 5 years ago, so my children were fairly younger at this point. I still had to operate as if nothing was really going on. So at that moment, I just had to literally swallow everything that I had been given to me at that moment. And just, like I said, move like I was fine.
The strength. As a single mother, yes, the strength that you had to have as a mother to kind of put your feelings on the back burner to be strong for them so that they don't see you breaking down and they don't see you going through this. But how do you do that when your partner, the love of your life, doesn't even know if he or she will be alive? Like I don't know. That would be very difficult for me. Somebody who is very emotional. I always tell everybody. Everybody that knows me knows I'm very emotional. Knows that I'm very sensitive. I don't know if I would be able to handle that. My kids might have to just see me break down. Like, how do you keep that in?
So,
I won't be able to do
it. You found ways to keep yourself busy. So at that moment, I was the only parent working because at that moment, he couldn't work. Like I said, we had gone to every hospital in PG County. We had gone to just about every hospital in DC, and it was so bad that they had put him on the do not medicate list because, if you go to any hospitals and you are over medicated, especially with certain narcotics, they'll put you on a list. So like at this point, we had been everywhere. So I can't say that I was strong at that moment. I just really did what I had to do. But it comes with a double-edged sword because when you don't emote how people feel like you should emote, it makes people feel like you don't care.
Yeah.
So I had to deal with not only my feelings, but I had to deal with people thinking that I didn't care. But it was a survival instinct. So I was at work, going to work, and like I said, I was the only parent at that time working because he wasn't able to because he was sick. So everybody's thinking that I don't care, but I'm like, okay, it's not that I don't care. I can't do that in front of you all because if I break down, then I'm not going to be able to make it through my everyday routine, which is going to work, which is making sure these kids get to school, which is making sure the kids go to daycare. So it's just like, I don't know if it's strength over being able to survive during a time where everything is like iffy. Like,
Well, did his parenting change after this diagnosis?
He was going to love the kids up until the day he took his last breath. It wasn't a fact of his parenting changes, but when you deal with people that are going through illnesses like that, those people are facing their own mortality.
Correct.
Those people are dealing with, they might not wake up tomorrow. So I think, even though I didn't necessarily talk to him about what he was going through, and that was something selfish that I feel that was selfish on my own, in my own right. I'm pretty sure that he was dealing with not being able to see our children grow up, not being able to see our children go through different things that every parent wants to see their children go through.
Absolutely.
Prom,
marriage,
being a grandparent,
first job, right?
So I think he was having to deal with those things on his own, and not changing the fact that he loved the children. But when you're dealing with someone that is dealing or facing the fact that either today or next week he might not be there,
correct?
There are just, they change. And it's not a change that is against you or your family. It's a change because essentially I think they're preparing themselves to not be here, or preparing you for them not to be here. So it's not that he was, or didn't love the children or didn't parent them the same way. It's just that we had a toddler. We had a 2-year-old at that moment. So you're thinking like, okay, my youngest child is 2. How do I deal with the fact that I won't even see my youngest child go to kindergarten? He made sure he saw all of our children go to kindergarten, first grade, all of those things. Every first day of school, he was there. So when you're facing that fact that you're not going to see one of your children do something that is your tradition, that you're going to,
sure.
I can only imagine the thoughts that were going through his head. So
absolutely.
It's just one of those things where you're like, okay.
You got to do what you have to do.
And I think even him, it was him protecting himself at that point, because he had to make sure that he seemed stronger than what he might have really been, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of those things. I haven't gone through that, so I don't know, but I can only imagine that there were a number of things going through his mind, because there were a number of things going through my mind. When we found out, I'm thinking like, he's not going to see my youngest son go to kindergarten. He's not going to see our children go to prom. We're not going to be doing the Christmas
So you had already kind of come to terms with it.
After he told me what it was, my first instinct was to go to Google, which is probably the dumbest thing that I could have done. But I had never heard of it.
Okay.
When you think of cancer, you think of one of the mainstream cancers that everybody is always pushing. You're thinking breast cancer. You're thinking of the things that you always see mainstream. Like, I never heard of pancreatic cancer. Like, I probably didn't even know what a pancreas was at that point. Like, just to be honest. So I'm just like, okay, let me go see what it was. So when I look, the first thing it says is the mortality rate is like less than 1%.
Wow.
So when you see that a mortality rate is less than 1%, you're kind of already like, let me just mentally prepare myself that it might be what it's going to be. So I Googled, I read what it was, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, we've dealt with some of these things that it said, because like I said, it mimics a lot of things. It hides. And it's like it's like it hides, and it's acting as if it's something else until they actually diagnose it.
Wow. So
I had already prepared myself after I went on Google, like,
okay, so let's fast forward to his last days and how you move forward from there. I know you went through like a weight loss surgery and things like that, so let's kind of touch on that. Like, what were his last days like for you and him and the kids and the family, and then how were you able to move forward from that and get to where you are today?
So his last days, again, they were tricky because he was in the hospital in July. But he told his mom that he wanted to come home. He said if he was going to die, that he would rather be surrounded by the people he loved. He wanted to be around the kids. So we basically made a hospice room in one of the rooms inside of his mom's home and brought him home. And he was touch and go because he was in the hospital the majority of July. We brought him home. I don't think he was home for a good week before he passed away, but it was one of those things where when somebody tells you what they want, when they know that they're going to die, you just kind of have to do it. So at this point, I had gone to visit one day when he was still in the hospital because he was down in D.C. in one of the hospitals in D.C. And I walked in the room and I looked and I had to step back because at that point I knew that my kid's dad was not going to make it. I looked at him. He wasn't even the person that he was. This was a man that was probably 6'3", 350. Still 6'3", but at this point probably 175. So he was half of who he was.
Wow.
And by then, like I said, just the emotional journey of seeing somebody that you love going through all of these different stages, because there are definitely stages of death. And we don't necessarily always know what those stages of death are until we're in that moment, but there are definitely different stages of death. So we brought him home, and I am very intuitive when it comes to certain things, and I go off vibes and energies. So this one particular day, my children were supposed to, this was actually the day he died. My children were supposed to go to the beach with their babysitter. My babysitter was amazing at that point. She would take them to the beach, Six Flags, all of those things. But this morning, I really just could not move. I felt off. I don't generally feel off when it comes to get my kids out of the house. I wake up, I get them out the house, and I'm on going about my day, but I could not get up. But I don't know if you have that inner voice that tells you, like, nah, you got to do this. So I'm in my head, like, I'm hearing, like, you got to get them up. You got to go. They got to go. So I'm like, nah, they need to stay home. They need to stay home. And I'm like, I'm hearing this voice again. Nah, get them up. They got to go. So I get them up. I call my babysitter, and I tell her that they're ready to go. And I get them out the house. One of my friends, she calls me. And it's weird because every time I'm going through something, it's always that one friend that always seems to know to call you. Like, they always there right when you need them. Right when
you need them, absolutely.
So my friend calls, so she calls me. She was like, AD, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm just feeling off today, but I'm good. So she asked me, well, how is he doing? Because a lot of people that were close to me at that point pretty much knew that what was going on, you know. So I was like, well, the doctor said that he probably has a couple more days, but I don't think he has days. I think he has a couple of hours. So by then, my kids are out the house. Probably 5 minutes before I got this call, I got the kids out the house. Right when I say my kids, my kid's dad had a couple of hours or a couple of minutes. I heard the most absolute gut-curdling scream that I don't ever want to hear again. And that was a scream of a mother losing their child. like, at that moment, right when I said that, he passed away. And it was one of those things where I didn't even have to go back in the back room to know what happened, because, like I said, you get feelings, you get vibes, you get energies, and my energy had been off that whole morning. Like, I was just moving different than what I normally do. But when I heard her, I already knew what it was. So he died that morning, and it was no more than 15 minutes after I sent my kids out the house. Had I not sent my children out the house, they would have seen their dad die. So,
we're going to take a break, y'all. We'll be right back with more with Dominique. Well, welcome back, y'all. I told you that this would be a very special episode, very emotional. We had to take a break because it got a little bit deep. I just want to take a moment to encourage you all to bring awareness to cancer, bring awareness to AIDS, HIV, all these terminal illnesses, especially within the Black community. Again, I'm going to say it. You guys know I'm very much pro-Black. And we need to, I work for a health magazine. And so, I believe in the mission with getting health education out there to our community, getting health awareness out there. And, we're losing a lot of people, a lot of Black men, a lot of Black women, men, we're losing a lot of them because of these terminal illnesses that can be prevented. We have to go to the doctor. Come on, y'all. We got to go to the doctor, and I'm not talking just physically. Yes, go to the doctor to make sure your physical is okay, but go see somebody, go talk to somebody, go see a psychologist or something like that. It's very important to take care of our health across the board, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because we want to be around for our children and our grandchildren. So, we don't want to leave behind people that love us and care for us, because it's hard. It's hard raising these kids. It's hard. Just being in this world, we want to do it with all of our loved ones, but so that's just my take. So we're going to try to lighten it up here a little bit and kind of get into what happened for Dominique next, because she's here, she's beautiful. So it is a happy ending to this story. I don't want everybody to just be crying and feeling bad for her. Yes, she lost somebody, she lost the father of her kids, but your story can go on and it can be better for you, and that's where we are today, right? You went through this weight loss surgery, right? Okay, so the father of your kids, he passed away. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, but there is, more to your story. So tell me about the weight loss surgery.
So all of it ties into each other. So after you've lost somebody from something health related, you tend to look at yourself, and even though I'm healthy, I've never had more than a cold, but you kind of look at yourself and you realize like you're not who you are. You're not the best person that you can be right now. So I decided a couple of years after he passed away to invest in myself. And when I say invest in myself, I went to the doctor and I stepped on the scale and they told me I was probably 315. And for my height, 315. For my height, I'm 5'4.5". I'm considered morbidly obese at that point. And if you're anything like me, like I don't care. I've always been the fly fat chick. I don't really care. But like I was embarrassed, so I'm like, how can I be fly, but I'm 315? Like that makes no sense. And then I'm looking like, okay, I have 4 kids. I can't even run after my youngest son the way I want to at 315 without being gassed out. So at that moment when my primary care doctor was like, what you trying to do? I said, well, what you trying to do? Like, let me get the referral. Like, that's all. It's nothing to talk about. Let me get the referral. So being who I am, I'm like, nah, I can do this on my own. And I absolutely can. Anybody that follows me on social media knows that I'll be in the gym. I'll be out somewhere doing something that is health related. But sometimes that isn't enough. When you have to lose a certain amount of weight to be a healthier you, it's not about quick fixes, because nothing about having weight loss surgery is a quick fix. But I had to lose over 100 pounds to even be considered within a normal range for my height. So I did it the natural way. I lost 30 pounds, but as soon as I stopped, I gained that back and more.
Oh wow.
So after I did that, I was like, okay, well let me do this. So in June 2018, I went under the knife. I had the sleeve gastrectomy, which is where they take a portion of your stomach out, and I literally have a stomach the size of a small banana. I can't eat but 3 or 4 bites before I'm full. However, I've lost over 115 pounds.
Wow.
I weigh maybe 203, but I fluctuate because I like to eat cake some days. I'm not even gonna lie, cake is good.
Me too.
So, I say all that to say that there are a lot of people that are ashamed or scared to talk about getting weight loss surgery because there are a lot of judgmental people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to weight loss surgery. A lot of people think that this is the quick way to go, and it's not. Because just like somebody that doesn't have weight loss surgery has to work to make sure that they're in a normal range of their weight, so does someone that has someone that has weight loss surgery. So yeah, my stomach is the size of a small banana, but if I eat 5 spoons of cake, I'm still not eating the correct way. So I still have to work the same way someone works that doesn't or hasn't had weight loss surgery.
So, well, you look good to me,
girl. Thank you. When you invest in yourself, like, you tend not to care what anybody else says.
That's right.
I'm very transparent about my journey. And I literally carry somebody that decides that they want to tell me something that they probably have no working knowledge of. But one of the main decisions to do this was because, like I said, after losing my kid's dad, I don't want my kids to lose me because I'm not healthy. Because at 315, 5'4.5", I'm not physically healthy or physically where I should be as a mom to them. So,
well, you look beautiful.
Thanks.
And your kids are doing great.
They are. I can't complain. 4 kids in, I'm just like.
But we were talking during the break. You were telling me about your love. See, you know what, y'all have to understand. Life is about ups and downs. You can't always be on the mountaintop, honey. Sometimes you got to go through the things in the valley. But you want to get back on that mountaintop, and that's where she is right now. Miss Dominique, you got a boo and everything now, right? Are you happy? Tell us what's going on. What's next for you? What's going on with Miss Dominique for the future?
Yeah, he's at work. He's waiting for me. But yeah,
she got a smile now, y'all.
No, like I'm in a good place. Like, I'm not saying that every day is an easy day because I would be lying. But when you find someone that makes those days that you're going through that are rough easier, it makes it better. And I believe that everybody has their person, and this person feels like my person. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's like some of those hard days don't seem as hard now that I have someone that I feel like was designed to be able to deal with my bullshit. Cause I ain't gonna lie, like, I'm human. I got a lot of shit with me some days, but I'm happy. So, I mean, and he makes me happy. So I really can't complain. Going in, I told him, I said, listen, you got to be patient with me. You got to be patient with my kids, because I was with my kids' dad off and on for almost 10 or 11 years. And
it's good that you communicated that to him, though, you know, so it wasn't like a shock when things started to happen where he had to be patient. He had to, you know, show that he was patient. He had to do things.
Well, see, I taught a lot, so I'm gonna tell you what it is anyway from the jump. So I told him what my expectations were going in anyway, even down to being mad. Like, I ain't about to go to bed mad.
Right.
So if you mad at me, you better talk it out. So like, I literally feel like when you have someone that you can communicate those things with, whether it's 5 months or 5 years, if you tell them what your expectations are from the jump, there's no surprises when you do what you set your expectations to be. So it's like that open communication that is there. Like I said, it makes those hard days that I have, and I have them a lot. It makes those hard days easier, especially because there are children involved.
Yeah.
And when you have children that have lost a parent, and you have someone that, it's gonna be alright,
Right.
you know.
You gotta
So you have
support
someone that
them.
literally has come in and put himself in a position to fill whatever void these kids are feeling, because I'm only Dominique.
Right.
And I have boys.
All boys?
No, 2 boys, 2 girls.
Okay.
But the girls,
Right.
they're good. But boys, they're different. And when they need that guy.
Right.
So when you have someone that is willing to be that guy for boys, it puts a different respect level
100%.
into play. So like my oldest son is 12 and my youngest son is about to be 8. So they have a guy
A
there
role model.
that'll bring him back in.
That's just really amazing. I'm really happy for you.
It's been a 360 because
Well, you know
the last
what?
5 years have been like,
Yes. Well,
Such
you
a
know
guy.
what? You have an incredible story,
Thank you.
and we're gonna close out. But I really want to close this episode out with you talking. I really kind of want you to talk to the listeners, the people who are going to be viewing this. Like I said to you on the break, there's people that can relate to you. Maybe some people that can't relate to you, but there's people out here that are struggling with something and they need to feel like somebody understands them. So with that being said, let's close out with you just kind of giving some kind of inspiration, some hope to people. What would you say to people that are going through anything, whether it's a loss, whether it's just, depressed about anything, maybe it's struggling with the kids, whatever it may be? What are your words of encouragement?
I don't know if I have words of encouragement. I won't lie, I'm human. But what I will say is that I'm not a hard person to find. And anyone that knows me knows that if you ever needed someone to talk to listen to vent to, that I'm your girl. And I do so with extreme confidentiality, because it's nothing like having someone just to listen.
Right.
Whether it is about how your day sucked, or if you lost someone, if you needed someone to relate to, or on any level, I am open. I keep myself transparent with a lot of things because I do know what it is to go through things and not feel like you have someone there. So I'm very transparent. So I say all of that to say that if you've lost a co-parent, spouse, lover, friend, anybody, if you're thinking about changing how you are as far as your lifestyle, my social media is completely open. I generally add everyone until you give me a reason to unadd you. But if you're following me on Facebook, my name on there is Dominique Barnes, straight to the point. And my Instagram is hilarious because it's called Neek is Shrinking. But if you
shrinking that way,
if you've seen any of my journey, you'll see why I've named myself that. But my social media avenues are open, so if you ever needed to just vent, like, you can shoot me a DM and I'll pretty much like be your ear, without bias, because a lot of people don't have that ear without bias or judgment. So
go ahead and jump in her inbox, do what y'all need to do, talk to
jump
somebody.
in my inbox respectfully though.
Right.
Please.
Right. Don't be acting crazy now. This is for healing.
I will show my inbox to my dude, and I don't know if that's the smoke.
Right, men, ladies too. Yes. This is for healing.
Yes. So,
not dating. Okay, so let's put that out there. But yeah, she is available. Everybody don't have health insurance, so can't always go to the psychologist and everything. So
But yeah,
Use what you got. Use what you have.
People are biased. They
Use what
have
you got.
judgment too. So.
Well, thank you so much, beautiful. You are amazing. I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to sit and talk with you and kind of really get into your story. It was an emotional one. We had to go to break, honey. Okay, people was needing tissues and stuff. But I'm happy to see that you are here. You are alive. You are full of life. You're beautiful. Your skin is glowing. Everything is working for you. You're winning in life. So that's a plus. Thank you to everybody listening, watching us. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stay tuned for the next episode.